back to First Page Critique. This is my second one of these. I am Pat Luther. I'm a science fiction and fantasy author with 3 books published now. And I am reading the first page of other people's works in progress. And then doing critiques on them. So basically, what you would do with like an open reading critique at a convention or a writings conference or whatever, that kind of thing, except it's just me reading them, just me giving feedback, but other people who wrote them and sent them in. If you would like to do so and have your writing featured, it can be anything: first draft, final copy, even a published work like this one is. Feel free. The link will be in the notes at the bottom of this page. If you're watching this on YouTube, which is where most people watch it. If you're watching this live, then hi and thank you very much. But the links will be on the YouTube one, or I don't know how to put them on Twitch, so they're only going to be on YouTube. Anyways, or you can also go to my website where you will find my blog, and the website is just pluther.us. That's pluther.us. There's a tab at the top for blog and another one for first page critique summary or submission. Sorry. And you'll find those. So, without further ado, let me dive into this one. I'll read it first, and then I'll give the feedback, and that'll be it, really. So, this is from Nights of Madness by Seán Hill, and this one's a little different. It's part of a flash fiction, and I'm gathered almost half the story right here on the first page. The second page is the other half. So I'm not really familiar with flash fiction, so you might want to take my feedback with a little bit more grain of salt than you even usually do. Okay, so I'll dive in. Black smoke hung in the air, its haze dimming the sun throughout the day, and at night turning the stars sickly. The countryside was ash and cinder, the embers smoldered but faintly, flashing briefly in strange patterns as bleak winds roared towards the battered edifice of the stained castle. Upon a single thin bridge did several baying warriors roll a battering ram, reinforced with crude iron bands and heaped cadavers. And around this, for several miles, did hordes of howling, chanting madmen rush and fall over each other, trying to clamber up the sheer walls, the first one slipping into the moat, a cesspool of whitened, bloated corpses, and the others dashing quickly across their drowning comrades' backs. No simple illness of the brain afflicted the warriors below. This was madness, twisted, perverted, screaming yellow madness that each and every one of the crazed fools had willingly given themselves over to. One could almost see their hallucinations, skittering and gibbering incessantly at the edges of consciousness. Freakish altars, idols, and painted monoliths, before which wild blasphemies of blood and debasement were done daily. Leered at the castle whose decayed stateliness was an affront to their warped desires. Within the cracked stone and wooden supports, ragged-eyed soldiers in stained patchwork armor stopped their ears with filthy linen strips to drown out the pounding battering ram. Some grasped frayed holy books and symbols, some stared into torches on the walls, some simply sharpened blades close to cracking. They could feel the wind creep across the ceiling, whispering things from outside. The words were trying to find a way in. No shining army was rushing to their aid. The border had been lost a month ago, but this castle remained. They had never fled. They never could. It was either retreat into a wave of 10,000 maniacs, or defend what they were told was a beacon of reason and light in the dark of madness. And that is page 1. So yeah, let's talk about that. Okay, I'll start with the world building, because this is a great tone. There's death, there's despair, everything is coming to an end. This could be the end of the world, or something. Countryside is burned for miles around, and is this possibly the very last place in the kingdom? This is a kingdom, it sounds like. It's a, so the world itself is, like the medieval European kind of thing that you see in a lot of fantasy. So it's a very common setting. which is good because it's very obvious what it was. You got warriors, you got castles, you got battering rams, and swords. So the usual. Let's see. A few notes from within it. At one point, he mentions a battering ram reinforced with crude iron bands and heaped cadavers, which seems from this sentence that the heaped cadavers are reinforcing the battering ram. I'm not sure that's what he was going with, or how that's supposed to work. Maybe something's missing between those two, or maybe that is what's actually happening there. These are madmen, after all. But that and the piling over corpses. So you got the heaped cadavers, whatever they're doing, and the piling over corpses with the bloated, drowning people and the others dashing across their backs. Gives very, I don't know, maybe Walking Dead or Orcs at Helm's Deep kind of vibe, or maybe just a swarm of ants, but it's just these people are just pouring in, and it's like nothing is going to stop them for miles. So that's very bleak, very despairing. Let's see, a single thin bridge. I love that line. Even though, I mean, a bridge normally you wouldn't think of as thin, even though they are compared to other things, but it kind of gives you an idea of looking at this castle from far away, which makes it feel small and lonely, even though it's a castle, which is great. I love that. Let's see. One of the questions raised that each and every one of the crazed fools had willingly given themselves over to the madness. So why are people willingly give themselves over to the madness? That's a question that's not answered on this page, but it's definitely raised. Let's see. Let's see here. The words were trying to find a way in, and they had stopped their ears with filthy linen strips. These knights, these defenders of this last bastion of light, I guess, or sanity, barely, are obviously familiar with whatever the madness is. It may be a supernatural element. So the fact that the madness, affects everybody, and that the words are trying to find their way in, so it sounds contagious, does seem to imply it's something supernatural. So I wasn't told what genre this is actually in, other than it's flash fiction. And my form doesn't ask. I think I'm going to leave it that way. I kind of like that. I thought at first that was an oversight to not ask a genre, but I kind of like that. I don't know what genre the thing is in. So it may be fantasy, or it may be some kind of alternate history or something. As far as I know, this is not historical. I'm unaware of any kingdom that was just wiped out by madness like that. Although, no, I don't know. Let's see. The only thing I didn't like about that line was retreating to a wave of 10,000 maniacs, which makes me think of the band, which kind of pulled me out of the story for a moment. So that's something you want to watch out for. It's not a bad thing, and maybe you're going for that, or maybe you're not. But if you reference something, if you're writing a fantasy and you reference something in the real world, especially something that seems very modern, it could form a bit of breaking the suspension of disbelief. There's a famous case of somebody mentioning champagne in their fantasy world. I forgot where it was. On a Twitter thread I read like a year ago. Somebody mentioned champagne, and the response was, "You don't even have France." But so it's not necessarily bad to do that kind of thing. Everybody knows what champagne is too, so you can say champagne in a fantasy story, and everybody will get, "Oh, this is a sparkling wine of some sort." But okay, neither here nor there for that. But it is something to watch out for, right? Modern references, which this may not even been a modern reference, is just something that sounded to me like a modern reference. I don't know if anybody else will think of the band when they hear that particular phrase. Raised questions. It definitely raises a lot of questions, right? Like, what is going on? Where does this madness come from? Who are these battle-weary defenders? I want to know more about these people. Their experience, they're close to despair, but they're still fighting. Who are they? How long have they been doing this? Why are they still doing this? So that's some of the questions. And so, does this one make me know what happens next? It absolutely does. So yeah, in fact, I think I'll probably do that after I finish recording this podcast, or whatever it is. It's not really a podcast; it's a YouTube channel thing. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I don't even know what I'm doing now. Okay. So yeah, what is going on? And what's the source of this madness? Right? It sounds like it could be supernatural. Is it something somebody did? Is there a wizard behind it all? Yeah, don't know. Want to find out. So maybe the story never tells. I mean, it's only another page or two, right? So it could be that they leave that a mystery. I'm guessing flash fiction would do that kind of thing a lot, and it may always raise more questions than answers, which is interesting. I may check out some of these others. But yes, so if you also want to know what's this is apparently an already published work, which is on his website. And the links I'll put in the description below. So thank you again, Seán Hill, for sharing this with us. This is Knights of Madness. If you want to learn more about his work, I'll put links to his website. He's got a Substack and a Twitter, and I'll put both those links in the description as well. And if you want to submit your own page to be read here, I'd love that too. Any pages you submit can be from any status. It can be a work in progress, first draft, final draft, even a published work. And there's a link. I'll put that also in the description below. I'm saying that a lot. There's a link where you can submit your own. And that's it, really. So thank you very much for joining us, and thank you again, Seán Hill, for sharing. Goodbye.